whole numbers are.
Numbers 3 zeros.
0, 1, 2, 3, all whole numbers, no fractions, no decimals, right?
Yeah.
Saw you though.
0, 1, 2, 3, and it keeps going. How about, what does it mean that no variable is contained in a denominator? So what are variables?
Letters.
Letters, so like your x's. So you can't have 1 over x, right? And no variable is under a radical. What's a radical? Square root, so it can be like square root of x or cube root of x. So all of these, this can't happen, this can't happen. Okay, everyone gets that? How about this next part? Any letter may be used as the variable in a polynomial. So here are some examples of polynomials. So x cubed, this cubed is a whole number, so that's alright. Minus 6x squared, this squared is a 2, so that's a whole number. And it's a plus half. There's no variable in the denominator, so that's alright. So that's a good example. Are the other ones good examples? Yeah, we don't see anything wrong with it, right? Okay. So let's do some examples. So determine whether the given algebraic expression is a polynomial. If it is, list its leading coefficient, constant term, and degree. So, 1. Is this a polynomial? Yes. So what is the leading coefficient? 1. The constant term? 1. And the degree? 3. Can you guys pick out one that's not polynomial?
6.
So 5 isn't one. Why isn't 5? Because the square root of 3. No?
It can't be a variable under there.
Right, it
That
can't
is
be a
the-
variable. So is this one okay?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Number 4. Right. This says 7 to the x power plus 2x plus 1. So our exponents have to be whole numbers. Is x a whole number? No. So this is not a polynomial. 6 is not either. Why is it 6?
Because it has a
Because of this. Do you guys get how to do those? Right, 7 wouldn't be either because of the denominator. Okay. So the next page. Synthetic division. You guys worked with this before?
I don't remember how to do it.
Okay, so if it says divide 3x to the 4th minus 8x squared minus 11x plus 1 by x minus 2, this is saying we're doing x minus 2 and it looks like this, right? 3x to the 4th minus 8x squared minus 11x plus 1, that all goes in underneath the division sign, right? Do you guys remember a shortcut and how to do this? Right, so you do in that like box. So where did you get that 3, 0, -8, -11, and 1 from?
The
did I put a 0 here?
There's no X to the
There's
third.
no x to the third power. So -8 over here, -11, and we see 1. And this is divided by what? 2?
Thank you.
Where did that 2 come from?
X minus 2.
X minus 2. No. So, who can help me out? What do I do next? 2 times 3 is, where did I write it over here? 6 times 2 is 12. What's next? 24.
Yeah, I think
No, I made, wait, what did I add? I added.
She did that divided with 8 plus 12. Times that. Yeah.
Two times 4 is 8.
Don't you add the negative 8 and the 12 together and
Yeah,
then
that's
multiply
yeah.
what you get by 2?
So 4.
Makes you do negative 8 plus 12 is 4 times 2 is 8.
Alright, okay.
That's your,
Thanks, man.
I'm just gonna send this, okay. Okay, let me start over. You take 2, positive 2. You list your coefficients. 3, put a 0. You always want a placeholder if you're missing one. 3, 0, then you're gonna put -8, and -11, and 1. How do you do synthetic division? You always bring down the first number. You bring this down. You multiply these two. Multiply these two, and you add. You add these two now. Then 6 times 2 is 12. Now you're gonna add these. Right?
yep.
Isn't 12 minus 8, 4?
Yeah.
Then you multiply these two. You get 8. Now add, what do you get?
-2.
Then you multiply these two, what do you get? And when you add, what do you get? Did I have it right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right. It was right. Did you see what I did?
I always get a little lost when I have to first pick it up.
So, what are these? These are the coefficients of the answer. This is your quotient, the coefficients of the quotient. Now, if you are dividing, here's your divisor, x minus 2. And this is your dividend. The quotient, the answer is going to be 1 degree less than the 4 here. So you start with that. So you're going to go. So here's your, so it'd be 3x to the third plus 6x squared plus 4x minus 3 with a remainder of -5 over x minus 2. You always put your, this is your remainder over the divisor. Okay?
Alright,
Everyone got that?
yeah.
Alright, so, did you do the first page with them? You do them all? Okay, go back to the first page, you guys, make sure you have these. Does everybody know which ones are not polynomials?
Yeah.
You guys know? There's a question on your test, it's gonna say, is this a polynomial? You can't have x in the denominator. You can't have x under a radical. you can't have, a negative, well, you guys know, if I gave you this, what's the difference between this and this? No fractional exponents and no negative exponents. Do you know what this is equal to? Yeah, so that's why you can't have an x under a radical. Do you know what this is? This is 1 over x squared. You can't have x in the denominator. So you don't want negative exponents, you don't want fractional exponents. Now, look at question 5. 5 is cool. You can have numbers underneath radicals. You could have something like this. You could have negative exponents as long as it's with a number, because this means x squared minus 1/5. You guys should know what this means. Now, the other thing they want you to understand is, how do you know what the leading coefficient is in the degree? You gotta answer these questions. If it is, list its leading coefficient. How do you find the leading coefficient of this? What do? You have to FOIL this out. It has to be in standard form, so it's x squared. The next 2 cancel out, and what's the square root of 3 minus 3? So if I asked you what is the degree of this polynomial, what would you say? 2. What's the leading coefficient? You guys know what a leading coefficient is? It's the number that's in front of the term that has the highest power. So the leading coefficient is 1. I could give you this problem, you guys. I could say negative 2x squared minus 8x to the 5th plus 4. What is the degree of this problem? 5. What's the leading coefficient? Negative 8. It's not negative 2. Okay? Leading coefficient, a lot of people think what's in front. What's this 4 called? That's your constant. Okay, cool. So, is everybody cool with synthetic division? Do number 9, synthetic division. Tell me what to write. Direct me.
You just did it.
No, we didn't. We did that one.
It looks just like it.
I know.
It's the difference in 9 and
Okay, what do? Talk fast. Synthetic division. What number goes out?
2.
A 2. Can you do synthetic division on any kind of problem?
No.
No. The divisor has to have a degree of 1 and a leading coefficient of 1. So you take the opposite. On tests, I see people use negative 2. So you're going to put a 2, and you're going to put a 3, a negative 8. Did I do a 9?
0.
Good, a 0. So those people that don't put a 0 there are going to get this question wrong. Okay, what do I do next?
Bring down the 3.
Bring down the 3, 6, next, simple mistakes, you guys.
You said negative 8, that's, he was just a step ahead.
Is that what you meant?
Yes.
No.
I was literally just off by a second.
No.
I was literally just wrong.
Okay, what's your answer?
No, I was wrong.
Yeah, no.
We're gonna do 11 together. Tell me what to write. I want to hear you guys, because I know you guys have loud voices. What do I write? What?
Negative 3.
What?
Negative 3.
I heard 3 and I heard negative 3. We can't all be right.
3 and 3.
Okay, what do I write here?
2.
2,
5.
5,
0.
0,
Negative 2.
negative 2.
Negative 8.
Excellent. Now what? Tell me.
2. Bring the 2.
Bring down the 2. Then what?
Negative 6.
Then what? Negative 1. Then what?
Negative
3. Then what?
3.
Then what?
Negative 9.
Then what? Then what?
33.
And then what?
25.
Excellent. What's my final answer? Jacob Minter. What do I write? Answer.
2x to the third.
2x to the third.
Minus 3x squared.
Excellent. Do you remember this? Okay, you can do 13 on your own. Example 3. Please, you guys, please watch me do this problem. Everybody, watch. Now we have to do long division. Why can't I just stick with synthetic division? Why?
The leading.
What's the reason why I can't do synthetic? Tell me.
Because two,
We have two reasons. The degree is 2 of the divisor
Leading coefficient.
and leading, so there's a double whammy. Now watch, we have to do long division. I bet you if I asked you to set this up right now, you guys, half of you guys would set this up wrong. Or maybe not wrong, but you'll make a mistake. I'm gonna show you the way that you should do it where you guys won't hate this. What did I do to this divisor?
you added over.
Wrote it correctly, we're with a 0 in place. Now, your dividend, how will I write this? 6x cubed minus 4x squared. If there's anything missing in the dividend or the divisor, this is your divisor, this is your dividend. If any term is missing, it will help you big time to put a 0 there. Alright, now, huh? You can, but people make mistakes and they get really confused. Because when they go to multiply, you don't have that placeholder and then you don't know what to do with that term. And you start stacking things up wrong. And that's the trick that I've noticed that students do much better when they put zeros. Okay, now, do you guys remember how to do long division? What do we need? We need to figure out, this is, and you also, you want to put your terms in order from highest to lowest. Okay, so this should be in front. So if you ever saw this, like written like this, 1 plus 2x squared, if you saw that, reverse it. You always want it in standard form where it's in the highest power first. Okay, that might mess you up too. But your goal is to get something times 2x squared that's going to give you 6x cubed. So what do we need? We need a 3 and we need an x. Now where would I put 3x at? I'm going to put it right here. I want to line it up with my degree that's under the dividend. Now you're going to take this and you're going to multiply it to all 3 of these. So what is 3? So it's the distributive property. It's like 3x times 2x squared plus 0x plus 1. What would you get when you multiply these 3? You get 6x cubed. You want these to match up perfectly, and they do. What's 3x times no x? No x squared. Hold on, Jordan. I'm going to answer your question. 3x times 1 is 3x. What were you told to do with these two terms when you did long division in third? You want to subtract them. See, Jordan? Now these will cancel out. You want to do 6x cubed minus 6x cubed. These will cancel. You subtract. Now what's negative 4x squared minus 0x squared? Negative 4x squared. And what's 3x minus 3x? There is no x. Now do you remember the next step? You have to bring something down at this point. We have a negative 2 standing right here. What? So you don't get confused. Now we need to figure out what times 2x squared is going to give us a negative 4x squared. So it would be a negative 2. Now let's multiply. Negative 2 times 2x squared is negative 4x squared. Negative 2 times no x is 0x. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Now what do we do with this second
Subtract it.
row? We subtract it. These will cancel. 0 minus 0, that's canceling. And negative 2 minus a negative 2 is really negative 2 plus 2, which is 0. They cancel. There's nothing to bring down. So, does 2x squared plus 1 go into evenly? Why evenly? Because there was no remainder. No remainder. We like that. So this is a factor of this
Good
polynomial.
morning, please excuse the interruption. The Albion College representative is now here. Seniors, please report to the LGI room when passes. Again, the Albion College representative is here in the LGI room. Thank you.
Large gathering instruction. Okay, go to number 19. Everyone see 19. We're gonna do long division. Everybody got their pencil? What are you gonna put outside? I wanna hear you tell me. What are you gonna put outside? Very good. You're gonna put x cubed plus what?
0x squared plus 0x.
Plus what? Plus 1. What goes underneath? Everyone good?
Yeah.
All right, now, here we go. I always double check to make sure I didn't make an error copying any signs. I make sure I have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Everything's good. So, what's our goal? We want to eliminate x to the 5th. That's your target. So x cubed times what is going to give me x to the 5th? X squared. Now, I'll put it right here. Why do I put it here versus over here? Because then this tells me that's how much I have to go this to the end here. So I only have 3 of these to do. So what do you get when you do x squared? What is x squared times x to the 3rd? And now go through and multiply this by this. What is 0x squared times x squared? Yep. Now what's nice is you have a placeholder. If you didn't do that, you might get confused on what to do. What's x squared times 0x? 0x cubed. And what's x squared times 1? Now, what do we do with these two? We subtract them. So these are gone. What else? What else is gone? Anything else? These are gone too. What do I have here? You still have these. You have 2x to the 4th minus 6x cubed plus 0x squared. Put the placeholder here. Do we bring one down? Absolutely. Minus 5x. Now, what do we want to get rid of?
2x to the 4th.
Yep. So what do we need to multiply x to the 3rd by?
2x.
We need a 2 and we need an x. Sorry, I'm kind of squishing in there. So 2x times x cubed is 2x to the 4th, 0x cubed, 0x squared, and then 2x. What do we do with these two polynomials? Subtract them. So you get no more x to the 4th. You have a negative 6x cubed. We have no x squared. This is going to be on right here. What's this? What is it?
7.
Why?
Because you subtract 2.
Negative 5x minus 2x is negative 7x. So, we need to bring down the 1. You always bring something down after you subtract. One term at a time. Next, last thing. What do we need to multiply x cubed by to get negative 6x cubed?
Negative 6.
And then we're done. Whatever's left is our remainder. So negative 6 times x cubed. And then we have no x squared, no x, and negative 6. So, subtract. What do you get? What kind of 7? Is anyone lost? What's my remainder? All of this is your remainder. So how will you write this answer? It looks like this. It's going to be x squared plus 2x minus 6 with a remainder of negative 7x plus 7 over x cubed plus 1.
You don't think it's a lot.
Hmm? No. That's it. Now, if you wanted to check your answer to see if this was right, does anyone know how you did it with long division? Remember how to check your answer with long division? Remember what you multiplied.
Your answer, why would you?
Your answer, you're going to take this answer, this is your quotient, you multiply it by the divisor, and then what do you do with this remainder? You add it. So I bet you, if you took x squared plus 2x minus 6, and you multiplied it by x cubed plus 1, which would mean you'd have to FOIL. If you did this times x squared plus 2x minus 6, if you FOILed this out, and then you would add negative 7x plus 7 to this answer, I bet you're going to get x to the 5th plus 2x to the 4th minus 6x cubed plus x squared minus 5x plus 1. If you did it right. If you didn't do it right, guess what will happen?
You will get it wrong.
It will not add up to be that dividend. Okay? All right, go to the next. When your divisor, look at example 4. When your divisor, which one's the divisor? Which one's the divisor? It's this right here. When the divisor has a degree of 1 and a leading coefficient of 1. So if you were taking this, isn't that crazy? X to the 79th power plus 3x to the 24th power plus 5. If I wanted to divide this into this, I could do synthetic division, right? But look what I'd have. 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. You see what I'm doing? This is to the 79th power, 78, 76, 70. I can't count backwards. Okay?
We know.
Did you do this? Yeah.
You skip the 21st, 24th.
So, we have a way to see if this goes into this. And if it does, or doesn't, if it doesn't, could we figure out what the remainder is? Yes, it's very simple. It's an easy problem. If the divisor has a degree of 1 and a leading coefficient of 1, what you do is you take the opposite of this number, which would be 1, and you're going to evaluate this for f of 1. If you were to put a 1 in here, what is 1 to the 79th power? Plus 3 times 1 to the 24th power.
3.
Plus 5. So let's do this.
9.
If you took a 1 and multiplied it 79 times, you get 79. You get 1, sorry. If you took 1 and multiplied it 24 times, you'd get 1. 1 times 3 is 3. What's your answer? 9. So, if this is a 0, if this comes out to be a 0, then you would say this goes into this evenly with no remainder. If you don't get a 0, this does not go into this evenly, and this number is your remainder. So in other words, whatever you get here will be your remainder. When it turns out to be 0, that means it would go into it evenly. Think you got it? So try this next one. If I asked you to take x plus 2 and see if it goes into this, and if it doesn't, what would be the remainder? I don't want the quotient, I just want the remainder. So, what do we do?
Plug in 2.
What do you plug in?
Negative two.
-2. So you're going to do f of -2. So we get 3 times -2 to the 4 minus 8 times -2 squared plus 11 times -2 plus